Hey all, this is Patrick from Customs and Exotics. I'm building some basic work tables for storage from parts. So these are 4 foot by 8 foot tables. So I'm just using 2x4s. So what I'm doing is I'm building frames. So these are 8 footers and the middle ones are 45 inches and just screwed in together. So in the corner, I just put one screw straight in to hold it in place and line it up. Then the other two screws that are here, put them in a bit of an angle, going like this, and it gives more strength to the corners. And two screws. I use decking screws. I don't use nails, so I use these 2.5-inch decking screws. They've been working really great. So construction screws number 9s by 2.5, and the T25 Torx bit, because they work way better than Phillips head screws that always stripped. So I'll build my two frames. Once the two frames are done, then I cut my legs at 35 and 3/8, and I'll screw them in on the inside corner like I did over here. So I have some little blocks that I put underneath here to hold the height on all four corners. Put my legs in, screw them in with two screws here to bring the thing here, and 3 screws on this side holding it on this corner. Once that's done, before I put my top on, I go ahead and get my plywood. This is just OSB 5/8, and I cut my squares around, and I'll slide the sheet down through the legs. I just don't like having the corners cut like I've done in the past, and some people do. They just cut the corner, just slide the sheet in between. I like to slide it in and get it as snug as I can. I can see it's pretty tight all the way around. That actually adds more strength to the legs. Then once that's done, then I put the top frame, line it up and screw it in place, and then I'll put in the plywood. This is actual 5/8 plywood, not the OSB on the top side. I put the screws in the corners, line it up really good, and every 12-inch. So one in the center, and then the center of that. And then at 24-inch, I do the same thing. I line across, center here, line across. I have 6 feet, so from the end, 2 foot, 4 foot, 6 foot, put screws across, and then on the edge another one in between. So I've had tables I've built like that have lasted 15-20 years. I still have some in the shop. As you can see way back there, there's some that I have the upper sections for storage of parts, which I'll probably add on later on above this beam. Like those, they're all shelves, but I'll just leave this out so I can do that. So now I'm wrapping around this corner over here. So that's what I'm building. So now that I got my frames there, I'm gonna put the legs on and show you that in a few. Okay, now that the frames were done, now I put in the plywood on top. I did my screws, one on each corner, lined up the edges to make sure it was squared. Then on these ends were the two things, I put another one at 3-inch, and then 12-inch, 24-inch, and 36-inch, and do the same thing across on top of each one of the beams so it attaches. And again, on the edges, I go where the 24-inch piece is. One screw there, 1/2, another one at 48, 36, and another 12 more inches, and then here is 60 inches. This is 54, and another one halfway in between. So next, I made myself a little jig. So that has a hole of a 2x4. I can put it along the corner, line it up, and draw my lines, and do that on all 4 corners. Once that's done, then I drill a hole in the corner, and using a jigsaw, I cut up the hole, and then So I have my support here underneath. So I have those 4 supports I put on temporarily. Then I can take my 2x4, I can just slide it in. Then I'll screw it in 4 screws here, 2 on the side, and hold all 4 legs. Once that's done, I'll bring that frame up on top, screw it in place, and then put my other plywood top sheets on top. As far as tools, I have the torque driver with a T20 because these screws that I use on the top are T20s. Prefer the T25. This is what I had here. Then I have another one with the T25 for the long screws for the framing, the jigsaw, and my drill with a 3/8 bit. And that's pretty much all you need. Pencil, and of course the saws to cut your 2x4s. If you don't have one of those, you can use a regular circular saw or a jigsaw. And that's it. So I'm gonna keep going, finish putting this together. All right, so I got my legs in place, got my screws in. These blocks are not necessary anymore, so I can just kick them out. Don't need those. So put my frame on top, working by myself. So what I did at 3.5 inch, I put some temporary screws underneath. I measured 3.5 inch on each leg, and so put a screw here so I can set this in place and I can level it up. Yeah, this one's a little bit lower, but before I screw it in, I can lift it and tighten it up. The way I put my screws, so these two are a little bit of an angle, so it helps pull the 2x4 into the corner tighter. Then I'll put these 2 in, and then I'll put these 2 in. So that's 6 screws holding the corners. And then next will be just putting the plywood on top and get it all screwed in, and that'll be it, and the table will be done. So let's go to the next stop, or next step. Okay, so I put my top on, and what I did, I put 1 screw in this corner, lining this corner up. I put 1 in the other corner, and table is not quite square. It moves, you know, wood always moves. So this is sticking out a little bit. I want it flush and to be flush at the end. So what I did as a little trick to work, I put a screw here, and I can use one of these little crowbars. I just grab the end and just push on it, and can move the plywood like that, and I can screw in my screw. I can't do it right now because I'm holding the phone while I'm doing this, so being that I don't have 3 hands, I just wanted to show you a little trick. Let's put the screw, you can press it in, then screw that screw on top, and then you're lined up and squared. Same thing like on this side, the 2x4, kind of like a little round going in. So I'll put a screw in here, do the same thing here, pull it out, so this will come out over here and flush to this. I can put 1 screw and then line up everything and square everything up. Just an extra little info to help out. So keep going and get it all screwed up and come back with a table all done. Okay, well here we go. Got the table finished, put it in its place. So I'll get my 2 tables together here. It was 16 feet long, 4 foot deep, and I screwed them together so they won't move. And now I'm ready to get some work done on here. So came up pretty good, nice and solid, doesn't move, very solid. I got more plywood here, so I'm gonna wrap around the corner and keep going, and then I'll have some room to work on my jags, get the motors out, rebuild them. Got these doors together for the S-type. I'm gonna strip them down, paint them black to replace the side of the car here that was damaged. So I'll have room to work on that jag, and this one here that is super dusty from all the work in here. But that's my work corner in my shop. So now it's gonna keep going, but hopefully that helps you out. You guys can build some tables fairly easy. It's fairly cheap, and got good work tables. I've done some where I put extra legs here in the middle to make them stronger, so I put 6 legs. That's another option you can do. Put them in the center, but I wanted a wide open on these to put some large body panels and things like that in here. So thanks for watching. Subscribe, like the videos, and keep coming back to see us. Thanks.